Just off the coast of Dahab in Egypt lies a vertical sinkhole so deadly it has claimed over 200 divers' lives in just a few decades. Some estimates push the toll closer to 300. Known simply as the Blue Hole, it drops to depths of more than 330 feet, and its reputation as the world's deadliest dive site has haunted the diving community for years. To the untrained eye, it looks like paradise. Crystal clear waters, shades of turquoise fading into cobalt, and coral-lined shallows teeming with fish. Yet beneath that beauty lies a trap, an underwater tomb where human ambition and nature's indifference collide. The Blue Hole sits on the eastern edge of the Sinai Peninsula, in the Red Sea, just north of Dahab. Scientists believe it formed thousands of years ago, likely as a result of a collapsed limestone cave system. What remained was a perfect circle of water about 130 feet across, opening like a giant mouth in the reef. Divers began exploring it seriously in the 1960s and 70s as scuba technology advanced and recreational diving grew more popular. By the 1980s, Dahab had transformed from a sleepy Bedouin fishing village into a hub for adventure seekers. The Blue Hole, with its alluring depth and accessible location just meters from shore, became its crown jewel. At first, the dive seemed no different than other deep sites. Tourists swam along the shallows, snorkelers floated near the rim, and divers descended into the blue void. But as more people ventured deeper, stories began to spread. Stories of disorientation, of divers who failed to resurface, of lives cut short in the silence of the Red Sea. What drew divers most wasn't just the hole itself, but a feature buried inside it, the arch. Roughly 180 feet below the surface, this natural tunnel stretches for about 85 feet, connecting the Blue Hole to the open waters of the Red Sea. For advanced divers, passing through the arch became a badge of honor, proof of skill, daring, and control. Photographs from the 1990s showed divers silhouetted against the arch's faint glow, chasing the dream of emerging into the open sea on the other side. But reaching it required descending far below safe recreational diving limits. Most training agencies warn that dives deeper than 130 feet carry severe risks. At 180 feet, nitrogen narcosis, a condition where high-pressure nitrogen clouds the brain like alcohol, can set in quickly. Divers may feel euphoric, overconfident, or even hallucinate. Add to that oxygen toxicity, which can cause seizures at depth. And the arch became not just a challenge, but a gamble with mortality. Still, word spread. By the 1990s, the Blue Hole was a global diving icon. Backpackers, thrill seekers, and professional divers alike came to Dahab to test themselves against its depths. For some, it was a triumph. For others, it was the last dive they would ever make. As the Blue Hole's reputation grew, so did the number of victims. By the late 1990s, divers began referring to it grimly as the Divers' Cemetery. Along the shoreline, a stark reminder took shape. A wall of plaques dedicated to those who never resurfaced. Names, dates, and ages etched into stone. Silent testimonies to the risks hidden beneath the waves. Concrete numbers are chilling. Local estimates suggest between 150 and 200 recorded deaths by the early 2000s. Some divers perished trying to reach the arch but misjudged their air supply. Others suffered nitrogen narcosis, lost orientation, and drifted deeper instead of swimming through. Bodies were often left unrecovered, lying in the depths as grim warnings to those who followed. One of the most infamous cases was that of Yuri Lipsky, a 22-year-old Russian-Israeli diver. In 2000, Lipsky descended with a helmet-mounted camera to film his dive. His body and the footage were later recovered, showing his disoriented final moments as nitrogen narcosis overwhelmed him at more than 300 feet down. The video became notorious in the diving community, a visceral reminder of the Blue Hole's dangers. By the mid-2000s, the site had earned its deadly reputation. Yet, paradoxically, the danger only made it more attractive. Divers around the world spoke of the Blue Hole as a test of skill. a place where legends were made or lives were lost. As fatalities mounted, international media began reporting on the Blue Hole, branding it the most dangerous dive site in the world. Estimates vary, but most agree that by the 2010s, the total death toll had surpassed 200 lives, making it unmatched in recorded diving history. Local dive operators faced growing pressure. Some argued for stricter rules, while others leaned into the notoriety, marketing the site's danger as part of its mystique. Tourism in Dahab boomed, even as the cemetery wall grew longer. Unlike other dive sites, where authorities often close or restrict access after repeated accidents, the Blue Hole remained open and accessible. Its shoreline is just steps away from Dahab's cafes and hotels. Snorkelers float in the shallows, unaware of the graves beneath. Freedivers train in its vertical depths, sometimes setting world records, and scuba divers, despite the warnings, continue to descend, some safely, others fatally. The tragedy of the Blue Hole lies in its paradox. It is breathtakingly beautiful, yet lethally deceptive. It invites exploration, but punishes overconfidence. Unlike wrecks, caves, or remote sites where divers expect danger, the Blue Hole sits casually on a tourist shoreline, a deadly trap disguised as paradise. The Blue Hole is not the only place where beauty and death intertwine beneath the surface. Across the globe, other dive sites and waters echo its deadly reputation. In Mexico, the Cenote Escalado, often called the Temple of Doom, has lured countless cave divers into its labyrinthine tunnels. Even with maps and guidelines, disorientation is common. Some divers have vanished into its flooded caves, never to be seen again. In the Bahamas, Dean's Blue Hole plunges to a depth of 663 feet, making it the world's deepest known marine sinkhole. While primarily used by freedivers, it has claimed multiple lives. In 2013, world champion freediver Nicholas Mavoli died there, attempting a record-setting dive. Like Egypt's Blue Hole, Dean's is breathtaking and merciless. These comparisons matter, but none match the Egyptian site's staggering death toll. Where others count fatalities in the dozens, Dahab's Blue Hole has seen hundreds. It is not simply a dangerous dive, it is statistically the deadliest dive site on Earth. What makes the Blue Hole especially haunting is its deception. To the casual snorkeler, it appears harmless. A shallow coral rim leading into a blue void. Unlike jagged wrecks or storm-prone seas, there's no visible danger. The killer lies in its optical illusion. From above, the arch appears closer and shallower than it truly is. Divers often underestimate the distance, believing they can reach it easily, only to find themselves deeper than planned, burning through air supplies and battling nitrogen narcosis. Even experts admit that the Blue Hole tempts overconfidence. Its entry is just meters from shore. The water is warm and calm. The descent feels easy until it isn't. The very accessibility of the site makes it deadlier than remote caves or technical wrecks. It is danger hiding in plain sight. Today, the Blue Hole remains both a thriving tourist attraction and a somber graveyard. Dahab itself has grown into a hub for global divers, backpackers, and travelers seeking adventure on the Red Sea. Cafes and dive shops line the coast, many just a short walk from the sinkhole. The dive cemetery still stands nearby, its wall of plaques growing over the decades. Each new addition is a reminder of lives lost to the depths. Some families make pilgrimages here, leaving flowers or photographs in memory of their loved ones. Despite its reputation, the Blue Hole is not closed. Local authorities have installed signs warning divers of the risks, and dive operators are stricter about who attempts the arch. Yet fatalities still occur. Exact numbers are hard to confirm, but even in the 2020s, occasional deaths are reported, a grim continuation of the site's legacy. At the same time, freedivers have embraced the Blue Hole as a training ground. Unlike scuba divers, freedivers descend on a single breath. World records have been set here, with divers plunging hundreds of feet before surfacing again. For them, the Blue Hole is not just deadly, it is a proving ground of human endurance. Tourism thrives alongside tragedy. Snorkelers float above reefs near the rim, photographing fish in waters that look no different than any tropical paradise. Few realize that just beneath them, one of the ocean's most notorious tombs waits in silence. Looking ahead, the blue hole faces a paradox. Its deadly reputation both tarnishes and fuels its global fame. Calls have been made for stricter regulation, limiting access to the arch or requiring advanced certifications. But in Dahab, where tourism is a lifeline for the local economy, closing or restricting the site seems unlikely. Instead, the future may lie in education and awareness. Diving organizations now emphasize training in deep diving, gas management, and narcosis control. Documentaries and case studies, like the recovered footage of Yuri Lipsky, are used as cautionary tales in scuba courses worldwide. Yet the sea does not forgive, and the blue hole does not forget. As long as divers continue to descend into its depths, the risk remains. It is not a question of if more lives will be lost, but when. The blue hole of Egypt is a paradox carved into the sea floor. To some, it is paradise, a place of coral, sunlight, and adventure. To others, it is a tomb, a place where ambition, overconfidence, or simple miscalculation can end in silence. Unlike disasters that explode in a single day, the blue hole's story is written dive by dive, plaque by plaque, body by body. Its danger is not in sudden violence, but in the quiet lure of beauty that masks its peril. Standing on the shoreline, one can see snorkelers floating in shallow water, children laughing in nearby cafes, and tourists marveling at the Red Sea's colors. Yet just beneath that calm surface lies the most dangerous dive site in the world, a graveyard hidden in plain sight. So, what do you think? Should the blue hole remain open as a test of human skill, or should it be closed to stop more lives from being lost? Will divers of the future finally conquer it safely, or will its death toll only continue to rise? And would you dare to descend into the arch yourself?